Hey, what's up? It's me, Jeremy, and welcome back to another video. This video is a little special to me. It's my 10th year performing on cruise ships, and I want to kind of document this whole entire journey and how I got onto cruise ships, answering some of your questions that I've posted on my Instagram stories and on YouTube as well, and just to have a chat and let people know more about the cruise ship industry, how it is right now, how I got started, my favorite cruise lines, and basically answering all your questions. Yeah. I'm sorry, I just couldn't hold a straight face knowing what's going on behind.
I think that's perfect.
That's perfect. So that's James Basta.
Hello.
There we go. Come closer, you're blurred.
Oh, I'm blurred.
Yeah, there we go.
I'm English.
Amazing
balance.
show on if you ever on cruise ships and you see this name James Buster, please do yourself a huge favor and go watch this show.
Oh, well, thanks, mate. I'll
No,
give you money in a
really.
sec. And if you see Jeremy Tan, obviously, go watch Jeremy Tan. He's one of the best magicians from Singapore.
He don't dare to say that I'm the best magician on cruise ships, cause yeah. Okay, go. Let me finish the video. Thanks. Bye. See, that's what friends are for. And just so you know, we don't share a cabin. Okay, we each have our own cabins. I'm currently on the Disney Wonder right now. This is my cabin, very big, 2 toilets, and even a veranda right there. Right, so very nice. Thank you, Disney. So I just want to do a proper introduction. Hi, my name is Jeremy, and welcome back to my channel. In case you didn't know, if you watch this video, you know that I'm a magician. For the past 10 years, I've been performing on board luxury cruise lines all around the world. I'm very happy to tell you that this is my 10th year, so I'm making this video to document what I've experienced over the 10 years and answer a lot of your questions that you've asked on Instagram and on YouTube in my community posts. So let's get started. To answer some of your questions, how did I get into cruise ship? Very first time was Princess Cruises. They actually reached out to me, asked if I would be interested to perform on cruise ships. The reason being they needed somebody to perform in both English and in Mandarin, which I can. Hence, I got the gig. Funny story. So prior to that, most of my work comes from the corporate side. So your company dinners and all that kind of stuff. For about 10-15 years, and then I started cruise ships 2015. I told Angel, I was like, oh, we got this gig, 6.5 months. It could be the best or worst time of our lives. I didn't have anyone to talk about cruise ships back then, and so we were like, let's just do it. If it's not good, then we come back to Singapore and rebuild our corporate shows again, right? And just like that, it's been 10 years. It's crazy. I love that. So yeah, first time we got on, we brought everything that I own, like all the magic, big and small, close-up magic, all the way to stage magic and all that. Because, we needed 45-minute shows, 2 45-minute shows, and that's why it's a bit of a, like, we didn't know exactly what we needed to do. So anyway, we got on board, went to the venue that we were supposed to perform in, and then spoke to the production manager. And the production manager was like, oh, hi, welcome on board, and happy to have you here and all that kind of thing. Maybe have your technical rider so that we know like your show and all that kind of stuff and how to build the lights and all that. So I was like, sorry, what rider? I had zero clue what a technical rider was, but obviously I was me being me, I was like, oh, yeah, I'll give it to you, during our rehearsals and all that. And, immediately went and download a tech rider template and then, build my show from there. It's all a learning curve. Like I said, I went in there literally blind. Like I have no idea about the cruising industry, where to eat, where to sleep, that kind of stuff, how's the life on board and all that kind of thing. So I literally went in blind, which I was kind of also grateful for because, it's a bit like you're exploring and you learn day by day, you make friends and all that kind of stuff, which was really nice. So that was how I got onto cruise ships. My very first contract, 6.5 months. Then the next year we did more of that as well, another 6 months on another ship. And then I think in 2017 we opened the Majestic Princess for the inaugural China season, which was great. We had all celebrities, Yao Ming was there and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, before I sidetrack too much, let's go to your questions. Favorite ships, okay? So what ships have you worked on in your time, and which was your favorite? So many people ask me, even passengers, because they know that we travel from different cruise lines and all that, and they will normally ask like, oh, what's your favorite ship and all that. And there is no favorite ship. I'm not saying this to please everyone, but the truth is this. So like, I love the production shows. If you talk about production shows, I would rank Disney as number one, because you cannot beat a Disney production show. I mean, the whole theater is built for it. They have like projection mapping on the walls and all that kind of stuff. So imagine when, the song Circle to Life comes on stage, you see the animals, the silhouette of the animals actually marching towards the stage that's all surrounded. And then a little bit of a spoiler, in Frozen, it actually snows, So it's very immersive and all that. And I mean, the props, the staging, the characters, the singing and all that kind of stuff, it's really hard to beat Disney production shows, right? And then if you talk about like food-wise, which food is the best, or which service is the best? Well, definitely the luxury lines. Now, I've been on so far only Silver Seas, Azamara, and Viking. These are the these are the luxury lines, 6-star hotels. They have butlers that will come into your room and do everything for you, explain how each thing works, and ask if you require any kind of service. They will fill up your fridge with any drinks that you want, including alcoholic drinks and all that. And then also at the same time, there is another room steward that will clean up the room and all that. And then food's great. Like I literally had like caviar and stuff for dinner, which was like super weird. I mean, if you talk about like cruise ships, normally you would think, oh, it's just a buffet line. No, they have a lot of dining rooms as well. Some of them are specialty dining, meaning you have to pay for them. But on luxury cruise lines, most of the restaurants are free. There are some that you have to pay for. But most of them are free. The quality of food is really, really high. And the quality of service also is very high. And the reason is because there is the ratio of crew and passengers are about the same, sometimes even more, like 1.5 or 1.25 crew to 1 passenger, something like that. So on those luxury lines, they actually, they remember your order, your steak preference, your drinks, and your name and all that. So many a times when you like have coffee in the morning, you go there and then they'll go, oh, hi, Mr. Tan, welcome back. Cold brew again, or ice Americano again? And I was like, yeah, sure, thank you. And service is just amazing, right? However, because these are luxury lines, meaning that their ships are a little bit smaller, they hold about like 700 passengers or thereabouts. Unlike some other cruise lines, like this one holds I think about 2,007. I've been on cruise lines that hold like 6,000, some even 9,000, 10,000. So the smaller lines, as much as they are very luxurious and all that, during rough weather, it's really bad, right? So you can imagine like a small boat out in the open sea, it rocks and shakes and all that, it tilts and all that kind of thing really, really badly. And you can feel it quite badly if it's very rough, right? I remember on the Majestic Princess, the night before rough weather, Captain made an announcement that, the open decks will be closed because we're going to be experiencing 9-meter swells and all that kind of thing. 9-meter swells, just think about that, right? The waves actually come up to like deck 7 and all that. So the next morning when we woke up, didn't feel a thing. We were like, feels okay, until we looked out the window and we go, oh shit, because it was really, really rough. But because the ship was so big, and back then the technology was very new, they had like stabilizer fins and all that kind of thing. So it was really, really calm. Didn't feel like, you were seasick or anything like that. But seasickness is again, people to people is very different. Because I've been on ships consecutively for a long, long time, therefore I kind of don't feel it, but I do have like my seasick medication and all that in case. Yeah, when we first got out of Sydney, this cruise, it was quite rough as well. There were like 7-meter swells. Thankfully, it was only that the whole day and night. The next morning it got better. It went down to like 2-meter, 2.5-meter swells, and then now it's clear. Now we're heading back towards Sydney. So we talk about food, we talk about the production shows and service and all that. So yeah, that's my point. There's no best cruise ships. Like if you want something that's more family friendly, like if you have children and all that, Disney's one of them. Royal Caribbean is one of them because they have all the water slides, rock climbing, the surfing and all that kind of stuff. Most cruise lines, except for the luxury lines, they actually have like a childcare of some kind. Okay, so you can, or kids club, that kind of thing. So you can actually drop your kids off in those areas and those places, and then go enjoy the day, and then they have activities and games and stuff for the kids to do there. So that's quite nice. the parents get a bit of a break. To conclude this segment, no favorite ship. I love different cruise lines. Some of them the food are better, some of them the accommodation is better. Like this accommodation is always great. We stay in passenger areas, like I showed you earlier, there was a balcony and all that. And then on the luxury lines, obviously we stay in very big rooms and all that. And then there are times where we stay in very tiny crew area rooms too. Yeah. So it really depends. Not all the time we get passenger area cabins, not all the time we get crew cabins also. But the living condition is great. The worst one for me and Angel, because Angel used to perform with me, would be on one of the ships that has now been sold to another company. But we were living in bunk beds. It was really small, and we had to sleep on bunk beds. For those of you who know, you know, right? Which cruise ship has a bunk bed for guest entertainer cabins and a physical key to, you know, go open your door instead of the... Yep, let's move on. What ships have you worked for? Okay, I've currently worked for Celebrity, Princess, Holland America, Disney, Viking, Silver Seas, Azamara, Norwegian. Yeah, so many different types of cruise lines, many kind of different audience demographics and all that kind of thing, and they come from everywhere. Like just last year, I was mainly on the Celebrity Solstice, and we did like 7 months, and I did most of the contract in Alaska, so that was nice. Yeah, the perks about what do I like about cruise ships? A few things that I like about cruise ships. Number one, of course, I tell this to passengers as well, you know, I get paid to travel, do what I love. The only sacrifice that I have to do is being away from family. So I think that is the hard part. I usually miss all their birthdays. I'm not physically there. And so I try and spend at least the Lunar New Year with my family. That's the one time of the year I take a break off cruise ships in those 1-2 months. I think that one of the number one question was pay. Like, does it like compensate well and all that? So I'll combine these two questions to one. How many times do we perform on cruise ships and the pay? So we perform, say if the cruise is 1 week, right, 7 days, you have to prepare like at least 2 45-minute shows. Okay, completely different 45-minute shows. So say for example, you get on day 1 and then you perform on day 3. Okay, so on day 3, they will require you to say perform in the main theatre, right? And then you do 2 shows that night, the same shows. So for example, 7 o'clock, 9 o'clock, right? This is your main show, right? And then maybe a few days later, they might have you back in the theatre to do your second show, and you do the same thing, 7 o'clock, 9 o'clock, but it's your B show, okay, your second show. So that's what I have. My main show is the mind reading show, the mind hacker show. And then the second show is called Intimate Illusions, where the audience gets to know a little bit more about myself, how I started in magic, and the stories that I have experienced during my career as a magician. Sometimes I bring both shows, but I only get to perform one show, and then we still get paid the same. So the pay, actually, it's a bit touchy. It ranges from performer to performer and the type of act as well. So for magicians, there are different kinds of guest entertainers, okay? I know of some who are part of a production show, meaning that they come on the ship and then they learn a show that is already there with all the props and all that. They have to learn the makeup and all that kind of thing. And they get paid a monthly, which is okay. It's, yeah. 4 figures, obviously. And then there are close-up magicians where they go like in restaurants during lunch and dinner, and then sometimes around the bars as well, and they do mingling magic. So they do close-up magic, walk around and entertain the people while they are waiting for food. And those are also like a monthly 4-figure type of thing. And then there is us, which is the guest entertainers. So guest entertainers for magicians like James, juggler, comedians, singers, instrumentalists, bands, tribute shows and all that. We would say easily 5 figures a month. Yeah. We get paid by the week. So if we are on for like 1 week, we just get paid for that week. Any extra days, we'll get paid for that as well. And then if we are on for like a whole month, we get paid for the whole month, but on the weekly basis type of thing. And yeah, most of us are contracted to do like 2 main shows. That's the minimum that, you know, they can request from you. There are times where I do like 3 different types of shows. But for magic, it's kind of also good because I can actually do a workshop. So I can teach magic to the passengers, like in a, not in the theater, but in a different kind of setting. Like they have different lounge rooms and all that kind of stuff. that I can do my workshop. It's good because I get to sell my merchandise as well. So I have like playing cards and DVD to sell. So that workshop is kind of like a segue to, you know, hey, if you want to learn more magic, you know, I have all these merch that you can buy and learn from me. So yeah, that's one. So yeah, basically that's the pay scheme. It's pretty good, but again, it really depends on entertainer and which agent you use and how much percentage that you have to give to the agents and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, it varies, but it's pretty good. Okay, very touchy. I don't want to talk about pay and all that kind of thing. My favorite thing, yes, sorry, I remember the question now. My favorite thing performing on cruise ships. First, of course, you know, being able to travel and all that. Second thing I feel that is very important to me is that you can grow as a performer, as an artist, because that night, the theater is yours, right? And you have the crew at your disposal, the production crew. So you have your stagehands, your lighting guy, your sound guy, your production managers and all that kind of thing. So you decide how you want your show to be, meaning the lighting, the mood, whether you want hazer, you want a low fog machine, you want to use the lifts to bring you up on stage, you know, for majority of the singers, they do that. And a lot of other stuff. So as an artist or performer, you get to really make this night your night. So it's quite interesting to build your show and your persona around all these things, and that's also one of my favorite things to do, like to grow as a performer, because like I said, the whole theater is for you, and you know, you can dim the lights, tell a nice story, have a little monologue, that kind of stuff, set the mood, create that magic atmosphere, you know, that kind of thing, which is really, really nice. And most of the shows that I've seen, and I've seen a lot of other guest entertainers and production shows and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I always go watch the shows regardless of how tired I am. I will definitely go and watch the shows. I also like to take photos of the shows as well, as a little thing to give to the other entertainers and, you know, production cast singers and dancers and specialty acts and all that kind of stuff. I would say the best shows for me are shows that you get to know the performer a little bit better. You know, they share some personal stories, anecdotes, and a bit about their life and all that kind of thing. How to land gigs on cruise ships? Yes. So these days, majority of us, we work with an agent. If you just Google cruise ship agencies, you'll see cruise ship entertainment agencies. You'll see loads and loads of different agencies. There is Blackburn, which is the one I'm in right now, and then there's like Grey Boy, there is Don Casino, there is Berry Ball, there's a lot of other cruise lines, Tada and all that. A lot of other agencies. So you can just reach out to them, and they're constantly hiring, I think. Reach out to them. My only advice is this: like, I've said this to some fellow entertainers, and they think that I'm just trying to prevent them from working on cruise ships. So I will give you the truth. Like I said, this video is about the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? The truth is this. First and foremost, the bare minimum you need is 2 45-minute shows. 2 solid 45-minute shows, okay? And then you go reach out to a cruise ship agency that will sell you to the different cruise lines. Whenever you do your show, you'll be rated, okay? Different cruise lines have different rating systems. Some of them is rated by the cruise director, the passengers, the production manager. Some of them just the cruise director, some of them just the production manager. So it differs from cruise line to cruise line. Every show you'll get rated. And if your rating falls below a certain point, or maybe there was some like big quarrel or something like that, they can just very easily do not rehire you. So my point is this: do your very best at every show, regardless of how you feel that day. Unless, of course, you're like super duper sick and you are pale and all that kind of stuff, and you're in the medical center, and you know they will give you an excuse to not perform that day. Like maybe it's very, very rough seas and you are very seasick, then okay. But I'm talking about like regular times, right? When you perform, you have to give it your 110% every single time, because there's a chance that you might not work for this cruise line ever again because of your ratings, right? You must understand that these passengers, they pay a lot of money for them and their family to come on board and to enjoy the facilities, enjoy the food, the entertainment, and everything that the crew has to offer, the service and all that kind of thing. From a few $1,000s to $20,000-$30,000 on the luxury cruise lines, okay? So of course they expect the very best, right? Like I tell a lot of the performers who want to come on cruise ships, I tell them this little theory that I came up with. It's your one chance theory, meaning that you have this one chance to kind of prove yourself and all that, okay? Unfortunately, the ugly side of things is also sometimes you're at the mercy of these people who give you ratings. So you can have a really, really good show and then the production manager or the cruise director just doesn't like you and then gives you a bad rating. It happens. I'm not saying that it won't happen. It happens. I've seen it happen. I know of fellow performers who perform great show, standing ovation at the end, and then the reports came in and said that, two passengers left during the show. And that was the only comment that came in. I was like, what? I personally have experienced that as well. I don't mind sharing. I won't name the cruise line. So imagine this. Brand new on this ship. Okay, I've never been on this line before. And then it was my day for show and rehearsal. It happens on the same day. So for example, my show's at 7 o'clock and 9 o'clock. My rehearsal will be at 4 o'clock, right? So I will come in early just to set up my props and all that kind of thing, get a feel of the theatre, know my sightlines, where to look, where will the passengers be sitting and all that kind of stuff, so I know when to interact with who and all that kind of stuff, okay? I was all set up. The rehearsal or the tech run starts, right? And everything is in my rider at this point. The show sequence, which what I'm performing first, second, third, fourth, and all that. The lighting cues, the music cues, as well as the backstage cues. Backstage cues meaning, okay, at this point, after this, you have to come and remove this thing off stage, you know, that kind of stuff. You know, so it's all very detailed. So anyone who reads the rider will know, oh, okay, so my lighting, me as the lighting guy, I need to do this, I need to do this. So we finished the tech run in about 25 minutes, which is for me quite okay, quite normal, because to install a brand new show, for me, as long as they can build the lights that I want very quickly and know the music sequence and the show sequence, we can finish a tech run in 25 minutes. And then they can go and rest until showtime. And then also because it's a new cruise line, I normally like to go out into the audience after the show, like stand outside the theatre and go thank the people for coming to the show. I think it's like basic courtesy. It is not demanded in every cruise line. Actually, no cruise lines demands you to do that. But it's just a thing that I love to do. Like, I like to go out, stand outside and go, oh, thank you for coming to the show, thank you. And then some of them like to take photos and all that kind of thing. And I think it's quite fun. It gives the passengers like a full-on experience, like seeing me on stage and then seeing me now here, just outside the door, and thanking them for coming to the show. I think it's a nice touch. There are times where we get to also sell our merchandise outside the theatre, so that's great also. Gives people an opportunity to come and buy immediately. So I asked this production manager and I said, so do you want me to come and, you know, de-greet the audience? And then they were like, oh no, we don't do this there. We don't do this kind of thing here. I was like, okay, cool. So after my show, I just stayed backstage and packed and all that kind of stuff. And then after I left, I had very, very bad ratings. So much so that my agent reached out to me and go, Jeremy, what happened like during this cruise? So I'll give you quote unquote. The remarks literally was that if my tech rider was more idiot proof, we would have finished the rehearsals in 5 minutes. Okay? So there is no way that you can build a whole new show in 5 minutes. Okay? Meaning, like, I have my own lighting requirements. I need this light, this color, and this shape, and all that kind of thing at the start of the show. So it takes time for the lighting person to go build this light. Like, oh, okay, is this okay? Is this okay? Here, okay, cool. And then during the show, when I start performing and all that kind of thing, I'm going to need another different type of light. So it takes time for that person to build and then save it, and then so they can cue it from opening, from pre-show to opening, and so on and so forth. You get the idea. And the remarks was that if your technical rider was more idiot proof, we would have finished in 5 minutes. And I was like, what? And then the next comment was that Jeremy did not interact with the guests after the show. Can you imagine? Like, I literally asked the production manager, it's like, oh, do you need me to, oh, we don't do this here. And then the ratings came back really bad, right? And I haven't been back to that particular line since, which is fine. Like, you don't want to, like, work with people who don't appreciate you and all that kind of stuff, right? So what was the point of that? There is also another incident which I had. So I've been on this cruise line for a long time, and then but this is the first time I'm working with this particular cruise director, right? And we were just chatting backstage, going through or how you can introduce me and all that kind of thing, and then do I come back for a second bow, that kind of thing. So yeah, and then as we were chatting, he was like, "Oh, do you happen to know this magician who and who?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I know them. I know them well, and all that." And then he begins by saying that, "Oh, yeah, they were with me on this ship, and they were supposed to finish their, they were supposed to do a 3-month contract, but they went home after a month and all that kind of thing." And I was like, oh, okay, interesting. I didn't know that." And they were like, "Yeah, some people are just not good enough for cruise ships." And I'm like, wow. Are you trying to, tell me that maybe I'm not good enough? Like, this is our first time working together. You've never seen me perform before. You've only, I don't know, seen my reports or heard my ratings or something like that. And then you kind of put this pressure on me just before the show, like literally 3 minutes before the show, right? We were having this conversation. And then I was like, oh, okay, yeah, yeah, maybe you're right, not everybody is cut out to do cruise ships, right? And then I just ignored it, did my show, I've got a standing ovation at the end, and then when the cruise director came out, you could see in his face that he was genuinely shocked that the show went so well, right? And he was like, "Oh wow, hey everyone, one more time, Jeremy time." And then when it came to the second show, we became best friends, right? He was so happy that I did a good job and all that kind of thing. And he even requested for, like, "Oh, are you available for these dates and these dates and these dates? Because I really want to have you back, for our Christmas cruise and all that kind of thing." I was like, yeah, you can always talk to my agent and, go get the dates from them. But yeah, it's one of those things where, like, why can't you let me, like, kind of prove myself before you put me in a certain and kind of throw me off just before the show, I don't know why it happens, but sometimes it does, okay? And these are just some of my personal experiences I have. And then, of course, there are some where, they say it's a really, really good show and they really enjoyed it and all that. But when the ratings came in, it was bad. And then then the agent will come back to me and go, "Oh, so what happened in this?" I said, "Nothing. The show went well." And that's the reason why I video every show that I do. So that if something like that happens, and not just that, but also, like, to protect myself, because I have a lot of interaction with an audience and they come out on stage and all that kind of thing, I'm always respectful. I don't make fun of them and all that kind of thing. And so if somebody claims that, something Jeremy said offended me, or something that Jeremy did, or something Jeremy did that I feel offended or something like that, at least I have proof that, this is what happened during the show. And that was what I did for those few times that the agents came back to me and go, "Oh, Jeremy, the ratings were this and this, and these were the comments. Do you have anything to say?" And I just, "Nope, I got nothing to say. We took 25 minutes for the tech run. This is the show from start to end." And I just send the entire video and let them be the judge. Nothing in the world will please everyone. There's one thing I wanted to talk about also. It's about privileges. So, as a cruise ship performer, as a guest entertainer on cruise ships, what are your privileges? So your privileges are basically, you are a passenger. Okay, you get, some cruise lines, you get both crew and passenger privileges. So let me explain to you the different types of privileges. The first one is you being a passenger. So you get a passenger cabin. You're not allowed in crew areas. Big no-no. And then but you get like discounts as we call ourselves like contractors, right? We get contracted on the ship to do stuff. So we are like external contractors. So we are given like a discount for drinks and Wi-Fi package and food for specialty restaurants and all that kind of stuff. We are given a discount from your regular passengers. So those are your privileges. All the time you are treated like a guest, in the sense that when the ship docks and you want to go out, you can anytime you like. Okay, we don't have extra duties as guest entertainers. We kind of do whatever we want. We normally, when we come on board, we'll receive like a welcome letter that tells us our show schedules, when are we performing, what time is tech run, and some basic guidelines of the rules and regulations on this ship. Okay, places you can go, places you can't go, your Wi-Fi code, that kind of stuff, and who to call in case you have any problems or issues that you want to sort out with. Okay, so that's one. Another thing is that you could be on the crew lists, and you have also passenger privileges. Like you could go into the crew areas, like you can go to the crew bar, buy drinks and all that kind of thing. Some of them allow you to stay in the crew bar and mingle with the crew. Some only allow you to grab and go. So it depends from cruise line to cruise line and even ship to ship. Like it could be the same cruise line, but the rules on different ships are different. So those are the basic privileges. You dine majority all the time actually, in passenger areas. You don't go to the crew areas to eat. When I did my residency on Princess last time, we could dine anywhere. So sometimes if I didn't want to dress up and go out to the passenger areas, I will go eat at the crew areas, which is fine by them. They allowed that back then. So I was like, okay, cool. So I don't have to like get dressed up and all that just to go to a passenger area. There are of course certain rules that you have to follow. For example, if it's the dress code, right? If it's like formal nights and all that kind of thing, then you want to also dress up, because you are also kind of representing the company. So if it's a formal night and you are in like a tank top and shorts, then it looks a bit bad, right? Especially if you have already performed and people do recognize you on the ship. One more thing that I'd like to talk about is the crew on board the cruise ships. Because over the years I've traveled to different ships and I've spent X amount of time on a certain ship and all that, I also get to interact with the crew. And say for example, just last year on the Solstice, I literally spent most of my contract with the production cast, singer, dancers and specialty acts, and we became very good friends. And these are people that will become like your lifelong friends, right? Next time when you go on another ship and they happen to be there, you know, it feels like you've never left them, kind of thing, right? And it's the same thing for people that I've met, like production people that I've met, whether they are backstage crew, even some like waiter, waitresses, baristas, and like production singers, dancers and all that I've met in my first contract. Like I still see them on different ships. Sometimes they have moved to a different line and all that, and I was like, hey, you know, and then we catch up, sit down, have a drink, have food and all that kind of thing. And these are the people that you will really hold dear to your heart, because you have been through a lot together, right? And then you bitch about, oh, you know, last time in this particular ship and all that kind of thing, what happened and all that kind of stuff. So it's really, really nice. And then even when the different ships dock in Singapore, or when I'm in their country or in their port and all that kind of thing, I'll just call them, right? And then go, hey, I'm here for the day, would you come and hang out and all that kind of stuff. And most of the time they do. I've even let people stay at my place when I'm not around. That's how close we can become. And so yeah, you know, these are some of the perks that come with performing on cruise ships. You get to meet like a lot of friends from everywhere in the world. Like typically a cruise ship will have at least 50 to 70 different nationalities working on the cruise ships. And so you will get to, if you get to know them, if you spend more time, like more than a week, or maybe like you spend a month or 7 months on a ship, you actually get to interact with them and know their culture, you know, what they like and all that kind of stuff. Talk about the different food and stuff to see in their country. And I will do the same to share about Singapore and all that, because a lot of cruise ships do come to Singapore, and sometimes they'll just text me and they'll go, hey, you know, I'll be in Singapore, I know you're on this ship. any recommendations if I want to go find this, right? And yeah, that's the whole point of having these friends and all that. I think it's something that is really nice, really nice. So yeah. Well, I think I have spoken enough. I'll have a very hard time trying to edit this video. But yeah, this is, like I said, to document my 10th year performing on cruise ships. And I'm very happy to do this, to answer all your questions and all that. I hope you find something useful or entertaining or something interesting about the stories that I've shared. Of course, there are a lot more other stories. So if you have any other questions, please drop them in the comments, let me know. And before you go, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to hit my goal, of course, to hit 1 million subscribers. And I know more than 1 million of you watch. I can see in my analytics. Okay, so just subscribe to my channel so I can get my gold play button. Yeah, like this video. It will help me with the algorithm and all that kind of stuff. With that said, let me know if you have any other questions or interesting things that you want to know about cruise ships. If not, you guys take care, stay safe, and I'll see you on the next one.